everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 7 of From Hope to Glory at Truro City with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we're getting towards the back end of March in our third season. March has been pretty good to us so far in the league. We've picked up some very, very good results and sit very nicely, I think, in 4th place currently, which is fantastic. Smack bang in the middle of those playoff positions, which is where we want to be for this season now, having been there for so long. But today we turn our attention to the FA Trophy and the semi-final against Aldershot. We're away from home, it's going to be tricky, but they are lower in our division than we are, so we've got a really good chance of getting through to the final, but we have to perform well to do it. Can we do that? Let's find out. Hi everyone, welcome back. It's great to have you with me at Truro City. As I say, we have been doing fantastically well in the league, sitting in 4th, and today we are focusing on the FA Trophy match against Aldershot. But just before we do that, I've got just something I want to ask you a question about, and I would like some responses in the comments below if possible. And it's just the thought that at the moment my opportunity for recording is a little bit limited just because of various things that are going on, but it means that for 5 days a week I'm releasing content at the moment, and at the moment, and has been for a little while, Truro City have taken up all of those 5 spots, and I want to know whether you want any of those 5 spots to turn into a second series of some sort. So it could be the first one that I would like to do is a thing called PSG Pain Purge, which is basically just try and focus solely on the Champions League, and in 3 seasons can I win the Champions League with PSG, just to be able to spend a load of money, use the big boys, etc., because I haven't really done that so much in the last few months. So that would be the first one, but we do relegation rescues and reputation rebuilds and all sorts of other different small short-term series alongside the main one. But it would mean Truro going down to what, 3 or 4 a week, and the other one being 1 or 2 a week. Let me know what you would think, if you would like a second series, and if you would, what would your split be? Would it be 3 and 2 or 4 and 1? What's the thought process? So let me know about that in the comments below. I'm just processing how I want to move into basically the next few weeks into February and figure out what series I want to be doing. And your opinion is important because ultimately you're the guys that are going to be watching. So let me know. So that's that. Today, though, we are in the FA Trophy semi-final, but before we do that, let's just revisit the most recent results in the league and see how we are sitting in 4th position. And it's been going very well. So in the last episode, we lost in that last minute to Chester. If you remember, they scored a 92nd minute winner, and that took the points to them, unfortunately, in the Vanarama National League. But we changed we changed one thing up after that point. If you remember, I asked you the question last episode, whether you would change anything in the style of play that we had, because it was just in the last couple of months beginning to feel a little bit flat. Even though the performances were getting results, it was just a little below par here and there, I felt. And I felt I could shift it up a little bit, considering how well we're doing, into a slightly different style of play. So what I ultimately did was I did sort of do that, but I only did it for the home matches. The away fixtures that we're having, we keep exactly the same tactic that we'll look at in a minute, that we have been playing. And on our home fixtures, an old favourite of mine comes back, and if you've been watching my content through FM20, you've pretty much got a good guess as to what that might be. It feels like it's kind of one of my own, really, now. I don't see many people play it, but that one's come back as a home tactic, as a slightly more possession-based style, trying to keep the ball and put our style on them a little bit more, rather than soak up pressure and then counter-attack, which is the away style. Anyway, it got some good results in combination, those two types of tactics. You see, we dropped a couple of points against Scunthorpe, but other than that, we played Bromley, Maidenhead, Boston United and Barnet, and got 3 points in each of those games and scored some good amount of goals here and there. Let a couple in as well, but that's okay. But ultimately, we really had a good month in March, other than that one loss to Chester at the beginning. So can we close out the month in good fashion and beat Aldershot in this semi-final and get through to the final? It's going to be a tricky one, but I think we can do it, definitely. So here is now what is our away tactic, which is what we've been playing for most of this season, which is a direct counter-attacking style. So we soak up the play and then we try and counter-attack as much as is possible. And it's worked pretty well for us most of this season, absolutely, even away, at home as well. But I just felt the need to give us a little bit of a difference in there. And so this will be played today. So we'll revert back to it in a second. And this team will play today. So you can check that out. But obviously, if you've been watching my content, you know that this is what I've also brought into the club. Now, it looks a little strange to those that haven't seen it play before. The asymmetric system is often a little bit weird. And there are some patches in here that we've got to work out a little bit. But ultimately, all it's about is keeping hold of the ball, and using the asymmetric style means that we've got a really interesting way of moving the ball up through our team, because there's no flat lines anywhere, so there's always somewhere else to go in terms of where we can pass the ball, and we're keeping it in the vertical tiki-taka. So there aren't too many sides at this level that would play this, and we probably won't play it next season. If we were to go up, for example, we would revert back to the counter-attacking style. But if next season we're in the division that we currently are, and we have a good summer transfer window of finding a couple of extra very good players for our current level, then this is definitely a way that we could play that would set us apart, I think, from others. And I think we're capable of doing it now that we've got the likes of, for example, Mundell playing that Metzala role, who gets forward and has some decent strikes at goal, but also the likes of Early sitting behind him, I think, is an all-round good holding midfield player. So there's some positives in there. I'd like a little bit more passing maybe, but the key attacking playmaker is Harvey, and he's got the opportunity for a decent amount of creation in terms of his passing and vision, etc. We've just got to get the ball through to him, and then we use the wide players to sort of attack that final third a little bit. So it's kind of an interesting formation. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, I think, to get it to its full maximum. But so far, it's performed very well in the home games that we've played it. So watch out for that over the next couple of episodes. But for today, we are away from home. We're in a cup semi-final. We are going to go with what brought us to the dance, and that is our direct counter-attacking style. Can't get my words out. Anyway, nothing of the away tactic has changed at all, so it remains the same as it has been all the way through the season, and pretty much everybody's fit and healthy. The only issue that we've got today is that Kazu is now a Lithuanian international player, and he's currently on duty with them for a little while. So unfortunately, that means that he misses the game today, but we've got able replacements enough, I hope, and we'll just have to see. And the other change in the last couple of games is that Andrew Neil has come back into scoring form, and Charlie Ball has dropped off just a little bit in his all-round play. You can see, maybe you can see, I know my head is here, but you can see that the last 3 games he's had is a 6.6, 6.4, 6.5. So he hasn't had the best of times in the last couple of games, Charlie Ball. And the last couple of performances, whilst they've been a little bit low for Andrew Neil as well, he has been getting the goals recently, and that's the difference. So he finds himself in the striking position today. So all of that means that the team for today is Roberts in goal, Morgan at right back, Rounsfell at left back. We have Stavrou and Doyle in central defence, Early, Mundell and Harvey in central midfield, with Knowles on the right, Slam on the left, Neil up top, with Chanel, Richards, Silla, Duke McKenna and Ball on the bench. So let's get into today's game and see what happens. So I've gone with, come on lads, show me what you can do to keep our run going. We are on a very good run of form in the most recent games that we played, so that's good. You can see that Aldershot come in with a 4-3-3, so not too dissimilar. We're going to match up quite well. Be interesting to see where the space is around this pitch today. And we'll just have to see what sort of performance we get. You've seen that we've been a little bit inconsistent on the episodes recently. But overall, the picture is very, very positive in that in the Vanarama National League. So confidence is high. Away from home, can we pull out a performance today that's going to put Aldershot under pressure? And so far, 15 minutes in, we get our first highlight of the game. And it is for us, Salam on the ball down the left-hand side, just drifting a little bit inside and trying to get past his man, which he does in the end. The ball over the top eventually for Neil, and then unfortunately he gets it all wrong and blasts it so high above the goal. It might not have come back down yet, but it was a good move anyway. Salam dropping it back into midfield and then the ball over the top for Neil to chase onto, and he got there too and didn't quite manage to put it away. 35 minutes gone. It's been a very quiet first half, and we've seen that occasionally recently, that the first half is a little bit like that, and then it comes to life a little bit in the second half, and that is it. That is the end of the first half. There really was not much to talk about. If we look at the statistics for the game, you can see why, and if it's just looking at the XG rating, the expected goals rating, 0.21 for both sides, having Aldershot created 3 chances and put 2 on target, and 5 and 4 for us. So the chances haven't been very good, or the finishing has been absolutely dreadful. And that means that we get through to half-time 0-0. Possession is good. Passing completions, not too bad. But ultimately, those shots on goal have not been good enough. So we're going to have to whip them up a little bit, it feels like. So let's thrash the arms around a bit. I'm far from pleased with what I've seen. That motivates them. Let's see if that can turn it into a good performance. We're going to come straight out of there and go in and demand more from them for this second half. And just see if we can get on the front foot somehow and put them under pressure. So Rounsfell on the ball, inverted fullback, drops inside on his right foot, which is good. Neil picks up the ball. Now he has to wait for backup. He does, and Salam gets a really good shot away, but it's inches past the post that he was going for. It was a good build-up play. Neil did really well to wait for the support, but when the support arrived, it wasn't quite accurate enough, and it's a goal kick to Aldershot, and we win it sort of in midfield. Now we do properly. Doyle in the defensive, central defensive area, eventually gets on the ball. Harvey tried to send it out wide right, I think. And I say I think because it wasn't very good. Again, we're dominant in the air in the central defensive area and get it into midfield, out left to Salam, who gets a chance to maybe run at a fullback. He doesn't. He puts the ball in instead, and it messes up the defence completely. The goalkeeper comes out for it. The defender doesn't know whether he's going to get it, so the two of them watch it sail past. And it's Neil at this near post as we were looking at it, the far post from where Salam was, that in the end nicks in and puts the ball in the back of the net. Really good finish from a very good cross by Salam, and the defence were absolutely at 6s and 7s, weren't they? And we go 1-0 up after about 55 minutes. We're now in the 61st minute, and it's the game is drifting along quite well. But maybe we just need to make a couple of changes at this point just to get some fresh legs in there. And we do. Look at some of these conditionings. Not great, is it? So Salam can come out and Duke McKenna comes in. He played really well, Salam, but the conditioning just is a little bit of a concern. We probably need to take out Stavru as well and bring Chanel in just to secure that defensive area. With obviously Kazoo missing, it means that Doyle's played a lot recently and he's struggling a little bit, but we need his presence there. So we can make one more, and let's look at these ratings and see what we're working. 6.9, 6.6 is probably the lowest. And who have we got on a 6.6? Mundell. Yeah, he's been a little bit hit and miss, Mundell. I must say I expected a little bit more from him in that Metzala role. You can see that he's supposed to play it very well. He's got the attributes mostly for it, other than a little bit lacking in passing maybe. but he hasn't quite hit the heights. He does it occasionally, but not consistently. So he'll come out today, and we'll put Silla in there, and then switch. No, we're not going to switch him round at all. We're going to play it that way, and then we're going to confirm the changes and just go in for the last 20 minutes of the match and see if we can hold on to this lead today. Whereas in previous episodes recently, we haven't quite been able to. Let's see if we can today. 81, 2 minutes gone. We've got a little bit of time left, but the game has kind of died, it feels like. Here is another highlight, but it's a highlight for us on a throw-in, but they've nicked the ball from us, and then we take the ball straight back again, and it ends up with Duke McKenna. And it's dropped back into early, back to Duke McKenna again, and it's sent out wide right to Knowles, but he doesn't get the ball, and it's a counter-attack from Aldershot, and they get into the box, and then a very, very weak shot from them puts it wide of the goal, and Roberts in our goal didn't even have to move. And there goes the final whistle. It was a bit of a dull game, if I'm totally honest. It was all right in the sense that we got the great win to go through to the final, and ultimately that is the only thing that matters at this point. And you can see that defensively we played quite well. There's some good average ratings in and around our defence, but that attacking midfield line, Salam was playing well, but we had to take him off for conditioning. But other than that, they were a little bit disappointing, really, and I think that's borne out in the statistics for the match as well. We're not going to overanalyse this performance. There didn't feel like there was too much to analyse, if I'm honest, but we'll just quickly look at the fact that we had 10 shots at goal, 6 on target, but only a 0.69 XG rating. So that's not good enough. We should have been able to get more out of that from the 6 shots that we had on target. 80% pass completion, that's really positive. A good amount of possession, that's probably where we won the game. We stifled Aldershot a little bit, who had a 0.81 XG rating. So theirs was slightly higher, and we managed to keep them out, which is fantastic. So there you can see that's where our defence had a really good game. Doyle on an 8.1, Roberts the goalkeeper on a 7. There's some really good ratings there. So that's how we won the game, but it was a little bit disappointing in just as a spectacle, wasn't it? But we get the win, and we are through to the FA Trophy final. So here we are back in the schedule page just to figure out next episode. Now, the thing that I can tell you is that I do know who our opponent for the final is going to be, even though it says unknown here. It just hasn't updated yet. But I can tell you that Boston United won their semi-final on penalties. And so they've gone through to meet us in the final. And this is not too bad for us at all, is it? They are a Vanarama National League team like we are. But whereas we're sitting in 4th, they currently sit in 18th. And we have beaten them recently in the league. We got a 2-1 win over them recently. So that was a good result. So confidence has got to be high that actually on a given day of a final, we can pull out a performance and do really well in it. That's the hope anyway. So I think what we're going to do now, if we look at the league just very briefly before we do anything else, you can see that we are sitting in 4th position. We've got a couple of games in hand at some of those around us. I think we're almost a shoo-in for this playoff position now, to be honest. I think it would take something pretty catastrophic for us not to. We're 7 points clear of the team in 8th position currently, which is the one outside the playoffs. And we've got a game in hand over them potentially as well. So that could take us up to 10 points clear of them. And there's only one team there before there's a huge gap back to Hartlepool in 9th. So we've only got one to worry about. And I think that others are going to have to worry about that, considering that we are sitting in 4th currently. So what I would suggest is that I think we're going to get into those playoff positions quite comfortably. We've got an FA Trophy game to play, the final match against Boston United. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to play the most of this season in terms of the Vanarama National League off the episodes now, just to finish off the league season part of it. So we'll come back next episode and we will play the FA Trophy final, and we'll catch up with the league stuff. And then what we're likely to do after that, for however long we're in them, is play the playoff games in the following episodes. I think that makes sense. I think there's no point in going through another month of stuff where we kind of know where we're going to finish roughly, only to then have to play through the playoffs as well. So that's what we're going to do. FA Trophy final, next episode. And then after that, we'll go into what I hope will be the playoffs. Obviously, if it goes drastically wrong through April, I'll bring you back before that and we'll explain what's gone wrong. But hopefully that won't be the case. And we'll play through the playoffs as well before the end of this season happens. So that's the plan. Thank you for joining me today, though. It was a really good result, ultimately, to get through to the final of the FA Trophy. It just wasn't a particularly fantastic game to watch, was it? There were one or two chances, but ultimately those the statistics for the match prove that we weren't really at the races with our shooting boots. But neither were Aldershot ultimately either, and we got the win, so we go through. So there you go. That's the episode done. So thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join my United City community. The more the merrier. There's loads of ways you can be part of the community and part of how I move the channel forward. You can do that by joining me on Twitter, or you can do that through my Discord. You can join my Patreon and support the channel that way. There's a merchandise store. All of those links are in the description below. There's lots of ways to support the channel, so go and check those out for me. Click the like button on this particular episode. That helps me know that you're invested in the content, but it also tells me that I can then spread the channel further and wider afield by getting more eyes on it. That's how the algorithm of YouTube works. The more likes you get, the more views you get, the more people will see it on the algorithm. So yeah, that was a bit of a long-winded way to say click the like button for me. That really helps the channel. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.